Today's DAF is Yud but in fact the sugya starts quite a bit up on Yud Gimel BAYT, and I think that if we start Yud it's unlikely that we'll be able to follow easily. So I'm going to direct you back to Yud Gimel BAYT, about 15 lines down, so about a third of the way down. And what we'll be talking about is the yad. So in terms of plants, you have the branch, you have the twig that runs from the branch to the fruit, whatever the fruit is, whether it's fruit or grain, whatever it is, and then you have the grain. We know that the fruit or the grain is mekabel tuma, and therefore cannot be used for schach. It's pasul d'schach, so because it has to be grow from the ground and cannot be mekabel tuma. So any fruit or grain, therefore, is not acceptable as schach. And with regard to the branches, that for sure is acceptable as schach because it's not mekabel tuma. But what we don't know is about this twig that connects the branch to the fruit, this which I'm going to call a yad, our handle. And so there's a difference of opinion as to whether or not this twig is considered like the fruit. Is the yad like the fruit and you cannot use it for schach, or is it considered not like the fruit, in which case you can use it for schach? So we'll see there are a couple of opinions as to the status of this twig. So we're going to start. Amar Rabbi Abba Amar Rav Huna. Do you see about 15 lines down? Everyone's got it? Amar Rabbi Abba Amar Rav Huna. Habotzer legat ein lo yadot. That when you're talking about grapes, that we don't consider the twig, the stem, we'll call it the yad a stem, we don't consider it like the fruit, and therefore it could be used for schach. Rav Menachem bar Gada amar Rav Huna hakotzer leschach ein lo yadot. He uses a different exemplar. He uses example of grain, so that the yad of grain, this twig or stem that connects the grain to its branch, so to speak, that is not considered like schach. So what's the difference between the two? Manda mar kotzer kosher kain botzer. So the Rav Menachem, who said that we don't consider this yad to be like the fruit when it comes to the grain, for sure you don't consider the yad that connects the grape to be like the grape. Why? Because if you don't accept the twig containing the grain to be connected, for sure you wouldn't want to consider the twig connecting the grape to be part of the grape, because when you're making the wine, you for sure don't want that twig there. When you're making the grain, okay, you may not want it, but for the grape, for sure you won't want it. So if you set the bar at the grain, that even in the grain you wouldn't consider the stem to be a yad, and therefore could be used for schach. So therefore, when it comes to the twig that's connecting the grape, for sure you would not consider that twig, that stem, that yad, to be like the fruit. So in other words, Rav Menachem would be making the case that there is no situation where you consider a yad to be like the fruit, and there is no situation, therefore, where you'd say you cannot use the yad for schach. So that's what Rav Menachem is being very adamant in all cases, the yad is not considered like the fruit. But for Rav Huna, Rabbi Abba Amar Rav Huna, Manda Amar Botzer she'en lo yadot, who uses his example to be with the grape. He says, but we do consider the stem with regard to the grain, because it's helpful if it's connected when you're putting the schach on. Why? Because with the stem attached to the grain, if the grain is still stuck to the yad, it gives a little bit more weight to it, and it's not going to blow off so easily. It won't be scattered. But if the two are disconnected, it's going to be scattered very easily, and you're going to lose the schach. So it's preferable, therefore, that while for sure Rabbi Abba would say that you wouldn't consider the yad as part of the grape, but you would consider it as part of the grain. So Rabbi Abba is open to the idea that there are going to be some situations where the yad is going to be like the fruit, and other situations where it's not going to be like the fruit. Whereas Menachem is going to run into trouble, and that's what we're going to spend much of our time with early today. Because he's very adamant that there is no situation where the yad is going to be considered like the fruit. Okay? That's a very important key point to make. Everyone's clear on that. No one's objecting. Okay. Name the Rav Menashe Bargada Tanaihi. So let's say that Rav Menashe is bringing opinions in keeping with another difference of opinion in this Baraisa. The Tanya Soche Te'enim Uvehem Te'enim, branches of figs would have figs on them. Parchlin Uvehem Anavim, vines that have grapes on them. Kashin Uvehem Shibolim, gain stems that have grains on them. Machbadot Uvehem Tamarim, you have date branches that have dates on them. Kulam im psolet maruba al ochalim kshera v'im lav psula. That the first opinion holds that we're only dividing between the branches and the fruit. There's no mention of yad here, so the yad presumably is part of the branch. But acherim omrim achihu kashim marubim al yadot v'al ochalim. That when do you make the distinction in terms of the majority has to be appropriate schach? That's when the branches are more than not just the fruit, but more than the fruit and the yad. So in other words, acherim are holding that the yad is like the fruit, not like Rav Menashe. My love, b'hakamifli, demar savar yesh lehem yadot, demar savar ein lehem yadot. The Rabbi Abba vaday tanaihi. So that makes sense according to Rabbi Abba, because he held open the possibility that you could have a difference of opinion as to whether the yad is considered like the fruit or not. But the Rav Menashe bargada milema tanaihi. How can you say there's an argument here? It doesn't make sense. He doesn't even opening to say that there's a situation where the yad can be considered like the fruit. So we have to find a way for Rav Menashe to get out of this problem. So we're going to try now to the following. Amar lecha Rav Menashe dekuli alma savri hakotzer leschach ein lo yadot. That always in a situation, I hold by my opinion, there's no situation where that stem is going to be considered like the fruit. We don't hold that the yadot being like the fruit, but what are we talking about here? Why is this case you brought from the Baraisa exceptional? V'hacha b'mayaskinan kegon shekotzitzan la'achila v'nimloch aleha l'sichuch. That what happened was, this is a special situation. This is where when you originally cut the produce, you cut it with in mind that you were going to eat it, and then only afterwards you changed your mind. So that's different than when you originally cut it with in mind to use as schach. So I kotzatzan la'achila ma'ita mayu derabanan. So okay, but wait a second, does that make sense? Can we really change our minds and change the status midstream, because that's what Rav Menashe's defense is dependent upon, that you can, through machshava, change from something which is for achila to something which can be used for schach. That's what the answer is dependent upon. But can we really do that? If you argue kisavri Rabbanan kevan denimlach aleyan lesichuch batlele machshavto, that your thought can change it, umi batlele machshava. Who says that you really can change the status of the fruit or the grain just through a machshava? Because at the beginning, of course, the status was that it would be mekabel tuma, and afterwards you're changing it by machshava. You're changing it to a status that should be not mekabel tuma.
So he cut it la'achila.
He cut it la'achila.
Therefore,
and then it's maybe mekabel tuma.
But we just said he holds that it's not considered part of the fruits, right?
That's the situation where you cut it with intent for the schach.
Right.
So he's trying to get out of it by saying, you know what, that case in the Baraisa is where you originally cut it with intent that it should be for eating, and then you, by machshava, you changed it to be for schach, and that's why you can't apply that to the case that I brought. That's my out. Okay. V'hatnan. So we have, how do you know you can change it? Machshava can change the status of the yad, because that's what Rav Menashe's defense is dependent upon, the ability that a change in your intent for the object can change it from something which is the yad, from mekabel tuma to not mekabel tuma. Now we've moved that to that's the key point. But we learned in Mishnah kol hakelim yordim lidei tuma v'machshava, that there are kelim that you can bring towards tuma with a machshava. In other words, if you happen to be producing a cloth that you're planning to make for a baguette, and once it becomes a baguette, then it's going to be mekabel tuma, because kli is mekabel tuma. So, but in the meantime, you said you just cut a square of cloth, you haven't made it yet, so it's not mekabel tuma yet. But then you have a machshava. You know what? I need a welcome mat. I'm going to use that for my welcome mat. So now, just the machshava, because a welcome mat will be mekabel tuma, so just that machshava makes it a completed kli, and therefore it's be mekabel tuma. So you see that a machshava can bring something from not makabel tuma to makabel tuma, but ve'ein oli metumatan ela b'shinui maisa. But if you go in the other direction, if you have something which is already makabel tuma, you said that's going to be a mat. So now it's makabel tuma already. But then you say, you know what? I really wanted to make a shirt out of it. It's not enough just to have the machshava. Oh, I'm going to change that welcome mat into a shirt. You have to do a maisa. Maisa motzi midei maisa umiyad machshava. That regardless of whether it was a machshava or a maisa that originally made that object, that square cloth, into a mat, regardless of what it was, machshava or masa, that made it into a makabel tuma, you have to have a machshava to get it out of being kliyas makabel tuma. Machshava eina motzia lo midei maisa velo midei machshava. But a thought, if you have something that is already makabel tuma, whether you accept it as makabel tuma either through an action or through a thought, a machshava is not enough to get it out of that status. So we see that if you have something which is makabel tuma, that is, you cut it to eat it, that yad is now makabel tuma. A machshava can't get you out of being makabel tuma. So we see it's not an answer for Rav Menashe. Well, let's try and sneak Rav Menashe out of it with a little trick here. That's only true where you can't use a machshava to get something out of being a kli makabel tuma. That's only true when it's a real keli. Baval yadot, when it's only a yad is insignificant. So maybe so maybe we can say that a machshava got you into it being a makabel tuma, and a machshava can get you out of it being makabel tuma. No. You can't even argue that because it's a yad and it's insignificant, so you don't apply the general rule that you for kelim. Why? Because we have Mishnah, I think in Uktzim, kol yadot ha'ochlin shebasasan begorin tahorat v'Rabbi Yossi metame. So what happened here? We had grain with a stem on it, and we had it in the goren, in the granary, and we're doing something called bosses on it, and that makes it tahor. So it was something that was cut off, it was makabel tuma, and then we're bosses it, and now it's going to be tahor. So the question is, what is this bosses? If this bosses is a maisa, then it's just what we just learned. That is, it took a maisa to get it out of being a kli makabel tuma to a kli that's something that's just not makabel tuma. But if you say bosses is just a machshava, then we see here we have a yad on the grain, and we had a machshava of bosses, whatever bosses is, and it made it tahor, which would be an out for Rabbi Menashe. Now we have a way where machshava can make something from being makabel tuma to not being makabel tuma, which would explain the baraisa, which was a question on Rabbi Menashe. Everyone good on that?
More or less.
Sort of.
You have to define what bosis is.
Right, so now that's what we're going to do. Shkoyach. Bishla lamandamar bosasan hitir agudan shapir. So all is good if you say that bosasan is untying the bundle. That is, you had a bundle of these stems on grain, and all you did was untie them. So you haven't done anything to the grain and the stem itself. So look in Rashi. Bishla lamandamar shapir. A little bit farther down. Shapir lo kasha lecha de ilave matzit lememar dekaimi rabanan kvate kevan shehitir agadan. You've released the tie that was surrounding this bundle of stems. Delohavi ela kemachshava be'alma. That's only considered when you're untying. It's only considered a machshava. Degali daite, because you're demonstrating to lo nechale biyadot shelahem, that you don't care about these yadot. She'eni yadot reuyat l'shibolin ela kadei l'ogdan. You only had the stems there in order to bundle them together, because you can't bundle together grains, right? You need the stem there. So when you release it, you're showing with the machshava, you're showing you're not doing a masa, but you're demonstrating that you really don't care about these stems, and so the stems are immaterial. And you're making them, and therefore, just with a machshava, you're changing the status. So we see in defense of Rav Menashe that you can change the status from something makabel tuma to something not makabel tuma just with a machshava. So back in the Gemara, Lamanda Amar Mai Basasan Mamash. What's Basasan Mamash? Let's look in Rashi. Lamanda Amar Basasan Mamash Dashan Liyadot Baragle Behema. They're crushed under the feet of the cattle. Oba mikvat kamo b'shimchan avus kamenu bosasu et chalkati. I can't defend my pronunciation. I'm sure I've got it wrong. V'hacha deika maise rabahi. So that's a significant action. You're trampling, you're crushing these stems underfoot. De amar de kametari rabanana v'machshava lo amar. So we see the boses is a maise, and even for a yad, even despite the fact you might say it's insignificant, but we see that even for a yad, the only way you can change it from a makabel tuma to a not makabel tuma is through some kind of maisa.
You put the stems under the feet of the animal in order to break them. Is that what that is?
You trample them, you squash them flat.
So you're doing it on purpose.
You're doing it on
They weren't
purpose,
just
right?
there.
Right,
There
exactly.
was a conscious decision.
Exactly. Okay. So Ma'ikal Amimar, how then? Back in the Gemara, Ma'ikal Amimar, how are we going to defend Ravi Menashe? Hachanami Shabbasan Mamash. So you know how we're going to answer it, that even in our case, when we talked about stems, his original case that we were talking about, that he said that is not Mekabel Tuma, that also was a case where there was a Maisa done. What was the Maisa done? It was also the Maisa of having it trampled. So the original case that we brought was the very case you're bringing now. So that's how Rav Menashe gets out of it. So normally, it would be Mekabel Tuma, but if you happen to trample it, so then it's not Mekabel Tuma, and that's his out.
You would have thought, and I think a logical person would have thought the exact opposite cases.
Right.
That you unravel the thing, that's Maisa.
That would be
that's
Maisa.
Kavana.
Right.
And you're leaving the stalks or the stems underneath the animal. That would be Machshava.
Yeah.
Why would they flip those?
Yeah, but clearly Rashi holds the other way. Rashi says that it was intentional, but that when you untie it, you're showing that the only reason you had it tied in the first place was because that was the only way to tie it, is around the stems. So you didn't want the stems there, but you wanted to tie it together, so you had to tie it together by having the stems attached to the grains. So that's the way Rashi explains it.
The examples sound counterintuitive.
Right. But clearly Rashi is holding the opposite way. Okay. Anyway, ihachi. Okay, so if we hold that way, so let's say, okay, Rav Menashe will accept it that way. We still have a problem, because in that baraisa you brought, we also brought acherim. The acherim held differently. That if you crushed it, it would seem obvious that it's not going to be a mekabel tuma. So how can acherim say otherwise? My time with acherim. The amor Rav Yossi. No, acherim are answering like Rav Yossi. Ditnan Rav Yossi metame. That he is metame even in that situation where it's crushed. Hi, my bish lamahatam time at the Rav Yossi chazia. Look at Rav Shimon and Lakish, because Rav Yossi is holding Rav Shimon and Lakish. The Rav Shimon and Lakish hoil ureuyot lahavchan be'eter. What purpose would you still want the stems to be on it? You've just crushed them. How does it help to have the stems on it? You know what the help is? Because you may want to flip them with a pitchfork. An ater is a pitchfork, so that's why you still want the stems attached to the shibolim, because you want to flip the shibolim, and the only way to do that is to still attach to these trampled stems. So that's why you see there is an opinion, Rav Yossi and holding like Rav Shimon ben Lakish, and clearly Acherim would seem to be holding likewise, that you, even though it's trampled, you still want the stems there. They still have a significance, and they still become tuma, and therefore you can't use them for stuff. But wait a second, that's fine. Switching around from pitchfork, that's fine on the floor of the granary. On top of a sukkah, you're not going on top of the sukkah and taking a pitchfork and flipping the stems on top of the sukkah. Why would you want the stems there on top of the sukkah? This has to be some purpose. Otherwise, why would Rav Yossi be not allow them to be used for stuff? That when it comes down to take down the sukkah, if you just have if it's a lot easier to take it down if you have these bent over stems. These crushed stems makes it easier to remove the SUKKAH from off the sukkah, and therefore there's still a purpose for them. Okay. Gufa. Kol yadot ha'ochalim shebasasan begorin tahorot Rabbi Yossi mitame. So we had, and now we're just going to review this again from a different source, because we learned elsewhere that that when crushed by the animals, the stems are crushed by the animal. Therefore, it's no longer mekabel tuma. But Rabbi Yossi says it is mekabel tuma. My basasan, what is this basasan? Rabbi Yochanan Amar basasan mamash. It really means crushing them. Rav Elazar Omer hitir agdan, that you just release it, you untie them. Bishlam al Rav Elazar damar basasan hitir agdan. So that makes sense. Why you just release them? Hainu demitame Rabbi Yossi. So that's why Rabbi Yossi says they're still tame, because you've only released them. You haven't done a maisa that would unmake their mekabel tuma. El Rabbi Yochanan, who's da'amar basan mamash, that you really trample them. So why would it still be mekabel tuma? Amay metame Rabbi Yossi. Amar Rav Shimon ben Lakish hoil ureuyos lahavchan be'eter. Because even though they're trampled, they're still considered significant, and therefore mekabel tuma. And why are they still considered significant? Because you want them there, so that you can flip them over with a pitchfork. Amar Rav Elazar lama nimshla tfilatan shel tzadikin ke'eter. So why is the davening of the the tzaddikim considered like a pitchfork, and we have Kiyatar Yaakov when he was praying for children. I think it was when he was praying for children. Just like a pitchfork is used to flip the grains one way and the other in the granary. So similarly, just like Yaakov davened to switch the intent of Hashem from to better things. Okay. Mishnah. Something a little more straightforward. Misachim b'nesarim. So we're just because we go into this, I'm just going to give a reminder that there are 4 different principles that change the status of walls. So we know about good asik and good achis. That is, we sometimes, with good asik, imagine the wall going farther up, going higher upwards than it in reality is. Good achis is that we imagine sometimes going farther down than it actually is. We have lavwoods that when the distance is less than 3 tvachim, we imagine that gap is being closed. And we have a special rule with sukkah, is dof and akuma, is that sometimes we imagine the wall as being bent inwards. What do you mean by bent inwards? That if the gap is up to 4 amas, that we imagine that the wall of the sukkah is actually bent in the equivalent of that up to 4 amas to fill out, to close off the sukkah. Okay, so some of these principles will come up over the rest of today's amud. Until what time do we have?
Whenever you're done, I think.
Okay. When's the breakfast? So the kollel still available?
10:30. We're good.
Oh, okay. I think they advertise 9:20, but I don't think they'll finish davening by then.
They're running late.
Okay, so 9:35, which should still be okay. All right. So Mishnah, Misachim b'nesarim. So we can make schach with boards, boards which are sometimes we use boards for roofs of regular houses. We'll see. Divri Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Meir Oser says no, you cannot use boards, and we'll see the distinction in the Gemara. Rashi says Natan aleha neser shu rachav arba tfachim. If you use a board that's 4 tfachim wide, kshera, the sukkah itself is kshera, but what's underneath the board of uvad shelo yishan tachtav, but you can't sleep underneath that board. So somehow that 4 tfachim wide board has some utility in terms of the rest of the sukkah being kasher, but underneath that board itself is not proper slach, and you can't sleep under it. And the Gemara will go into much more detail with regard to these issues. Amar Rav Machloket b'nesarim sheish b'hem arba. So there's going to be 2 opinions as to what the machloket lies on. Rav says that the machloket between Rav Meir and Rav Yehuda has to do with the boards when they're arba tfachim wide. So Rav Meir 8 leg zera tikra, Rav Yehuda late leg zera tikra. Here it's worthwhile to look in Rashi about what's meant by zera tikra. Rav Meir that most houses at the time were built with boards that were 4 tvachim wide. That was the industry standard. You want a house and you don't specify, I want boards this wide. They're going to build the house with boards that are 4 tvachim wide. So even then they had industrial standards. Sorry? Rav Meir, again, continuing Rashi, the pasel 8 leg zera tikra, imachsheret behu ati lemeimar, mali leschach be'elu, mali lesheftachat korat BAYT. What's the difference then if I'm sitting in the sukkah or sitting in the house? Afi b'nesari mikora. It's the same kind of ceiling boards. V'hau devadai pasel de sukkah amar rachmana v'lo beito shel kol yemot hashana. Because the Torah says sukkah. It doesn't say sit in your house. It says sit in your sukkah. So if you're using the same boards that you use all year round for your regular house, then it's not good. So that's according to Rav Meir, makes that gzera tikra. Rav Yehuda late like gzera tikra. Back in the Gemara, avon nesarim she'ein bahem arba. Continuing, this is the opinion of Rav. But what the machloket is about, avon nesarim she'ein bahem arba. But those that are smaller than 4 tefach divrei kol kshera. Even Rav Meir would agree that since we're not using ceiling boards that are the ones that are used for houses, so it's okay. They're okay to use. So everyone agrees they're okay. Ushmul amar, but Shmuel has a different opinion. He's machmer amar b'she'ein bahem arba machloket, that even when there's not 4 tvachim wide, that's where there's the machloket. That Rav Meir would hold that they're no good, but Rav Yehuda holds that they're good. Avol yesh behem arba divrei hakol. Even Rav Yehuda would say psula. So it's not okay. So first of all, you have to clarify something here. Ein behem arba v'afil pachat mishlosha. When you say less than 4, you mean even under 3? That there's a machloket even under 3? Ha kanim ba'al maninu. Under 3 tvachim, those are just regular pieces of wood. Those haven't got the same significance. So Rav Papa clarifies. Amar Rav Papa. This is what Shmuel means. Hachi kamar yesh behem arba divrei kol psula. That even Rav Yehuda agrees with Rav Meir that it's pasul. But pachat mishlosh and pachat mishlosha divrei kol ksheira. Everyone holds it under 3. It's okay because it's just regular pieces of wood. What's the argument? According to Shmuel, the argument between Rav Meir and Rav Yehuda is my taima kanim almaninu. Because under 3 it's just regular piece of wood. Kipligi mishlosha ad arba. That's where Mar Savar Kevan Delitnu Shir Makom Lo Gazrinan, where the Rav Yehuda would hold it's okay to use between 3 and 4. Why is it okay? Because it's not less than 4 tfachim. It doesn't have the significance of a makom. You remember with regard to reshut, it should be 4 tfachim by 4 tfachim to be the minimum significance of a reshut. And Rav Yehuda says this doesn't have that significance, so therefore it's unimportant, and therefore it's okay to use these boards as schach. Umar Savar Meir holds kevan denafkilu mitorat lavud gazrinan. So that the significance is between 3 and 4. It's still significant because the rule of lavud is under 3, and this is more than what would be lavud, and therefore it has significance on that basis. So Rav Meir holds that we do say that it's asur between 3 and 4. So that's opinion according to Shmuel. Okay, so now we're going to ask between Shmuel and Rav what different sources that support one or the other. Again, so just to recap, Rav says the machloket is on 4 and more. The Rav Yehuda even there holds that it's okay to use the schach, whereas Shmuel holds that the argument is between 3 and 4. And above 4, everybody agrees. 4 and up, everyone agrees it's not usable for schach. So it's none. We learn in the Mishnah, Natan aleha neseshu rachav arba tfachim ksheira. Uvad shelo yishan tachtav. So we see actually in our Mishnah, this comes from our Mishnah, that when it's 4 tvachim wide, it's still okay, but that's when you take into account daf and akuma. Bishlama, so in other words, only because of daf and akuma. If not for daf and akuma, it would not be okay, according to anybody seemingly. Right? Because you can't sleep under it, so it's not kosher. So according to the end of our Mishnah, it would seem to suggest that all opinions are holding that 4 tfachim more is no good. So, which is according to Shmuel is good, according to Rav is not.
Well, doesn't it say that it's good except for the fact you can't sleep under it?
It's good because it doesn't puzzle the rest of the sukkah.
No.
Okay, so the rest of the sukkah is still okay. The only thing that saves it, that makes it okay for the rest of the sukkah, is because no, actually, sorry, leave it at that. Bishlama l'shmuel de'amar b'shein behem arba machloket. So we see that that works out fine according to Shmuel. Aval yesh behem arba divrei kol psula. Mishum hachi lo yishan tachtav. Why can't you sleep underneath? Because everybody holds, including Rav Yehuda, this goes according to the opinion of Shmuel, that Rav Yehuda even Rav Yehuda would hold that it's no good, that it's possible. So we see that this goes well with what Shmuel says. L'Rav tamar b'sheyesh behem arba machloket, that even when it's 4 and up, then it's 4 tfachim wide. There's a machloket. The Rav Yehuda would hold that it's still okay. Aval ein behem arba divrei kol ksheira. The Rav Yehuda amai lo yishan tachtav. According to Rav Yehuda, at 4 tfachim it's still fine. Why can't you sleep underneath it? So we answer very simply, Mi savar divrei akolhi, seifa atan the Ravi Meir. No, you know what? That seifa is not trying to hold by all opinions. It's just according to Ravi Meir. So Rav Yehuda, you're quite correct. Rav Yehuda would not agree with the end of that Mishnah. Tashma. Shnei stini mitzdarfim. So now, with regard to sheets, are klisha mekabel tuma, and therefore, if you have sheets that add up to more than, presumably here we're talking about more than 4 tfachim, you cannot use that as schach. And shnei nesarin ein mitzdarfim. But if you have 2 boards that add up to more than 4, it's not mitzdarfim to be pasal schach. And presumably we're talking about boards that are between the size 3 and 4 that you're adding together. Because we're adding, if the boards are 4 or more already, why are you talking about mitzdarfim? You already have 4, so that wouldn't make sense. So Rav Meir Omer af nesarim kistinim. And that's the first opinion, that the stinim, everyone agrees for sure they are going to be pasal, the schach, if it's more than 4 tfachim combined. And we're talking here in a case where it's not at the edge of the sukkah, where you could argue, well, there's dof and akuma, and therefore you don't have to worry about it. We're talking about where the sheets are down the middle of the sukkah. So they're splitting the sukkah in half, essentially. So if you can imagine the sukkah with, let's say, 3 walls in the shape of a chet. with the top of the chet being at the top and the open wall being, the no wall being at the bottom, and you take two sheets that combined are 4 tfachim wide, and you run them in the vertical direction here in your imagination from top to bottom. So now what you've done is, because it's more than 4 tfachim wide, it's invalidated that central part, and so on to the right of those sheets you have two walls only, and on the left of the sheet you have 2 walls only. You got that? Like 2 inverted L's. So neither of them are good for a sukkah. So that's the situation we're talking about. That's why it invalidates the entire sukkah. Should I go over that again?
This sheet is not a wall?
Right, it's not a wall. The sheet is using a schach, so it's on top. So that's why it's invalidating the schach on top. So it's not valid schach on top. So you say, so it's not valid schach on top. Okay, so what? So if it's on the edge, so you can argue dofen akuma. You imagine it leaning in. It's not going to puzzle the whole sukkah. Just like that 4 tfachim wide board that we had in the Mishnah is not puzzle the whole sukkah. But the case we're talking about here is where you've got a 3-walled sukkah, and imagine as when you look from on top like it's a chet, and the sheets are running a schach. In place of schach, they're running from the middle of that chet, cutting the chet into a right zayin and a left zayin, so to speak. So you only have 2 inverted L's, because the schach is cutting the sukkah in half. So that's why it's invalidating the entire sukkah, and as opposed to where it was only at one edge of the sukkah, you could argue dofen akuma, and it wouldn't invalidate the entire sukkah.
And there were 2 walls, not 3 walls, is that it?
And there's 3 walls. So this is the situation we're talking about. That's why it's possible the whole sukkah. Okay, but if you have 2 boards that do that, so you have 2 boards that are between 3 and 4 tfachim, and you add them up so combined they're more than 4 tfachim, that doesn't invalidate the sukkah, according to the first opinion. But Rav Meir Omer, af nesarim kesidinim, that even the boards, when you put them there, will invalidate the whole sukkah. So we see here that we have an opinion that a 3 tefach wide board is going to be a problem. So, Bishlama l'Shmuel, that's fine according to the opinion of Shmuel. The Amar b'she'ein behem arba machloket, where there is an opinion that holds that if it's less than 4, there's going to be a machloket. Aval yesh behem arba divrei kol psula. But if there's a 4, everyone agrees it's going to be pasul. So my mitzdarfim. So when you say my mitzdarfim la'arba, that's where it adds up to the 4, which makes it pasul, and that's why you have the opinion that the Rameir's opinion here that it makes it pasul sukkah. El Rav the Amar b'sheyesh behem arba machloket, where Rav says that yes, there's only a machloket where there's 4. Aval ein behem arba divrei kol kshera. If you say the boards are less than 4, which must be in our case because they're only adding up to be 4, so each of the 2 boards must be less than 4. Everyone, according to Rav, everyone's holding, Rav Yehuda and even Rav Meir is holding that it's kasher. Hechidami. If the board is 4, as I just bevorned, if they're 4, why do you have to say you add them? Only even one board would do the trick of being a pasul sukkah. Amai. If you say it's less than 4, why would it be pasul sukkah? According to Rav Yehuda, hakanim ba'almaninhu. According to everybody, in the opinion of Rav, everyone's holding their kanim ba'almaninhu, and so what? So that's what we use for schach. We use boards for schach. We use wood, unimportant pieces of wood for schach. So le'olam de'etbuhu arba. So how are we going to answer this? No, really, we are talking about 4. Umay mitzdarfin la'arba amat. We're not talking about 4 tfachim. That they're adding 4 tfachim. We're talking about mitzdarfin la'arba amat min atzad. That remember that wall for dofen akuma can lean in. We can imagine it leaning in up to, but not beyond 4 amos. And what are you mitzdarfing these? You're not mitzdarfing to 4 tfachim. You mitzdarfing the boards to 4 amos on the edge of the sukkah, and that's already too far for you to lean in the wall. And that's why it is why Rav Meir holds that it is no good. Okay, so lishnachrin, a different way of answering this. Bishlama l'shmuel damar b'shein behem arba machloket avoyish behem arba divrei kol psula. Just like we said before, my mitzdarfim la'arba amot min atzad. So what we're doing here now is we're actually just saying the exact same thing, but we're saying in reverse order. We're answering first the answer that with Shmuel we're answering it that we start off with the premise that it's 4 amos from the side, and Shmuel is saying it's still a problem because of when you're mitzdarfing, you're adding up to 4 amos. Al Rav Bishlam al Rav Meir, my mitzdarfim arba amot min atzad. Same answer. El Rav Yehuda damar afilu yesh behem arba kshera my ein mitzdarfin. Why would Rav Yehuda argue on the basis of being combined? It doesn't matter to him. mitzdarfim. It's already no good. It's already going to be a problem. Now, kani ba'alma ninhu. I'm sorry, it's already going to be okay. It's already because they're kanim ba'alma. Less than four tvachim, they're already okay. It's not. Why do you have to say mitzdarfim? It doesn't matter if it's starfim or not.
I'm sorry, I thought we said less than 3 is kanim ba'alma.
Less than 3 is
considered kanim ba'alma. 3 to 4, that's why there was a machlokas.
The 3 to 4, so Rav Yehuda holds that 3 to 4 is still kanim ba'alma.
We said before less than 3. 3 and less is kanim ba'alma.
That's according to. I think that would be according to Rav Meir. I think. So why does Rav Yehuda have to use the terminology ein mitzdarfim? He doesn't have to use ein mitzdarfim. They're kanim ba'alma. So why do you say that they don't add up, and that's why it's still okay to use it as schach? He should say it's kanim ba'alma. That's why it's okay to use as schach. No. I did the kamar Rav Meir mitzdarfim. Amar Rav Yehuda ein mitzdarfim. You know why he uses that terminology? Because Rav Meir was using that terminology, so he also uses that terminology. Really, according to Rav Yehuda, it's okay to use up to 4 tvachim because it's ba'alma. It's just regular wood. He happened to use, the reason you get out of it is because it's not adding up. What do you mean not adding up? What does he care about not adding up? He's just using not adding up because Rav Meir said it's adding up. So he says, okay, it's not adding up. Okay, Tanya Kvati de Rav and Tanya Kvati de Shmuel. So we have support, Baraisa supportive of Rav's opinion that the machloket is only above 4 tvachim and up, and we have an opinion that holds that according to Shmuel, that everyone holds is possible from 4 and up, and the argument is between 3 and 4. Tanya Kvati de Rav. So according to Rav, who's more lenient and up to 4, everyone holds okay. SUKKAH b'nesarim shel eres she'ein behem arba divrei kol kshera. So we see here they're not up to 4. Everyone holds they're okay. Yesh behem arba. Rav Meir posev Rav Yehuda machshir, exactly as Rav held. Amar Rav Yehuda, and Rav Yehuda brings further support from this. Where do we know this from? Ma'aseh bishat sakana. There was a time of danger. She'evenu nesarim shayu bahen arba. I guess there was some edict against using the boards because they want to keep the Yidden from keeping mitzvah sukkah. We were underneath them, so we see 4 and beyond was okay. Amru lo misham raya. Ein shata sakana raya. You can't use that as a source to support Rav because that was a time of danger. So they made special leniencies. It was a derabanan only that Rav Meir was holding. It's not okay. Therefore, it's really it's okay to use that size. So because time of danger, so that's why he allowed it. You can't use that as a source from that baraisa to support Rav. And Tanya Kvati de Shmuel. We do have a possible support for Shmuel. Sicha b'nesarim shel erish eish b'hem arba divrei kol psula ein b'hem arba Rav Meir posev Rav Yehuda machshir, exactly as we learned earlier in the Gemara. There's the opinion of Shmuel. L'mod Rav Meir she'im yesh bein neser leneser kamalei neser, that if there's a gap between the boards enough to put in another board, shemaniach pesel beinehem, that you can put in other schach equivalent material. Pesel here is a certain material that is considered good schach. So not to get confused by the word pesel, but it's you put in good schach in between the boards, ukshera, and then it's be okay. So if you removed every second board and filled in the space with schach, good schach, that would be according to Rav Meir. Umod Rav Yehuda she'im natan aleha neser shu rachav arba tvachim kshera ve'ein yishanim tachtav. And Rav Yehuda agrees that if you have a board that's 4 tvachim wide, that's okay to use. Ve'ein yishanim tachtav, but you can't sleep underneath. So that's curious to me. So let's see. Ve'en yishanim tachtav, because that should still be okay according to Rav Yehuda. Va'yashin tachtav lo yatsa yedei chovato. So let me just check here what the art scroll says about that, because I would think of Rav Yehuda that would be okay. Which is not. I'm not seeing a good explanation of why you say that's not.
Okay because he's machshir daled.
I'm sorry?
You're saying it would be okay because his machshir, he says daled is okay.
Why can't you sleep underneath it?
Why can't you sleep underneath it? That's my problem here.
Okay. Maybe that doesn't puzzle it. That's what he says. It's okay.
I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I can't tell you why. So maybe a good question for the Rav to explain that. My apologies. Okay.
You'll get back to us.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Okay. So continue. Itmar. So we learned with these boards, Hafchan al Tzideim. If you turn them, so they're now on their sides, so they're no longer 4 tvachim wide. Rav Huna Amar Psula, Rav Chizda, Rav Huna Amri Kshera. So whether or not can you use them? Difference of opinion. Ikla Rav Nachman L'Sura. Rav Nachman happened to come to Surah. Rav Nachman, and he's looking for the answer. Ol Lagabe Rav Chizda, Rav Huna. So he went to them. Amri Le Hafchan al Tzideim Mahu. Can you turn them on the side? Are they still kasher? Are they kasher for schach? Amar Lahu Psula. So they, in keeping what they said before, they said it's pasul. Why? Nasu kishipudim shel matachet. Because then it's like metal spits. Because you've already they have a certain significance, just like metal spits, and metal spits are mekabel tuma. They're kli mekabel tuma. Amar Lahu Rav Huna lo Amri Lechu. Didn't I tell you that was the case? So Amri Kavati Amri Kavati. Didn't I tell you that when you came to me? Amrule Umi Amar Lan Mar Taima, but you didn't tell us the reason. So they're asking, did you tell us the reason why you couldn't do it and we didn't accept it? We wanted to know why. What was the reason? So Amar Lahu, so Rav Huna said to them, Umi Ba'itu Minai Tam Amri. Did you ask me the reason and I didn't tell you? So Lahu, okay, Lema Messiah Le. So maybe support for this contention about turning them, making it possible is Eina Machzeket Kedei Rosha Veruba V'Shulchano or Shenifritza B'Partza Kedei She's Daker Ba Gediv Bebat Rosh or Shenatan Aleha Neseshu Rachav Arbat Achim Afal Pi Shlo Yichnis L'Tocha Ela Shalosh Tvachim Psula. So these are 3 different ways you can be pasul as sukkah. What are the 3 ways to be pasul as sukkah? If you cannot put most of your body and your head and most of your body and your shulchan into the sukkah, so that's pasul as sukkah. It's too small. Or shenifritz parza. If there's enough, if there's more than lovewood, if there's more than 3 tvachim at the bottom, so a gedi can stick a goat can stick can go run through there. So that also is pasul as sukkah. And the third way you can be pasul as sukkah is when you have boards that are 4 tvachim wide, even if you put them in such a fashion that they're not taking up the full 4 tvachim, but only 3 tvachim. So presumably that third clause is talking about a board that's 3 by 4, and instead of putting it 4 on the side that's the wider side, that's the 4 wide, you're rotating it 90 degrees and putting it on the sides that's 3 wide, and we see it's still pasul. So from that we see a source. You seem to have a source that's supportive that if you rotate it, that it's still no good. No. You know what that's talking about? That's a different situation entirely. It's not a case where you're rotating it, and that's where you're going from 4 tvachim to 3 tvachim. What is the situation? We have a 4 tvachim board, and you're only covering 3 tvachim. Hechidami lav kagon shavchan al tideim. You think that's where you rotate it on your side? Lo hacha b'mayaskina. What are you working with here? Kagon the ancha apuma dimetalalta. That you're putting it on the edge of the sukkah. In other words, you're back at that 3-walled sukkah, and at the open area, the one side that has no wall, you're taking the 4 tefach by wide board, the ayol tlata legav, and you're putting it on the very edge, so it's on the wide side, the 4 wide side, but 3 of it is covering the sukkah. V'apechad levar, and 1 of them is on the outside of the sukkah. Dehavale pasal hayotzei min sukkah v'chopasal yotzei min sukkah nidon kasukkah. Because now what you're doing is you have a gap, that extra tefach that's beyond the walls of the sukkah, that the bottom of that chet. They have one tefach beyond, so that you can't just disregard that and say it's not part of the sukkah. It counts as part of the 4 tefach wide board, and now you have a 4 tefach wide board as schach, which is going to be pasul the sukkah, and therefore you have a pasul sukkah on that because of that.